Yesterday done with emotional intelligence chapter, right? So I hope all of you understood what is expected of you in the paper, not in the textbooks, right? Because when most of the textbooks were written, nobody had a clue what is expected of you from UPSC paper. Everybody wrote in from philosophy point of view or normal ethics stand of view. But this is totally to be tailor suited for India. As I told you in the starting classes, the questions are almost always about either society or you being in some managerial role, right? These are real life scenarios. That is why UPSC prefers these kind of scenarios, questions. So today we will see about values in public services, right? So this is like a transition chapter. This is one of those chapters which will give you the basics about what is expected of you as a civil servant. So if you understand this chapter thoroughly, whatever is going to come next, like civil services values, foundational values, and probity in governance, everything becomes easier. And whatever keywords you repeat or learn in this particular chapter, you can mug it up. I told you, right? Like just and this is a repeated chapter. That means from this chapter questions are asked time and again. So if you see the first question, what do you understand by the following terms in context of public services? Integrity, perseverance, spirit of service, commitment, courage of conviction. Now, textbook definition is very difficult to write. Yes, and even if you write it, I don't know to what degree you understand it. Yes or no? If I say integrity, you read the best textbook definition of integrity. But do you have integrity? Second thing, do you see it in the society? That is what is even more important. That is what differentiates between a good aspirant and a normal score. If someone is getting 120 plus and someone is getting 80s, the difference is how do you tell this difference? And even more important, are you seeing it in the society? Are you seeing it in the daily newspapers? Are you seeing it everywhere? If you can do that and if you can tell that to the examiner, he will definitely reward you. Yes or no? For example, spirit of service. Have you recently seen any examples of spirit of service? He stopped the biker, right? To ask him to chase the bus. So
constable directly promoted from the basic level to directly high level.
Because she saved, she identified thousands of missing children. Delhi. Anything else? Okay, but again, as layers of examples, right? It's a decent example. Gaurav Agarwal. Okay, again, spirit of service. He mentions one area where he says many subordinates who are about 60 plus still came to the jobs without worrying about their families. Yes, Telangana, a female inspector carried a dead body, right? So that is not her job description. She has nothing to do with it. But still, I am a public servant. I go beyond and above my call of duty. Yes or no? So that kind of examples, when you put it in a pen and paper, will actually tell the examiner that you understand. Yes, merely writing spirit of services, that means you should have the spirit of service, technical definitions. Repeating the keywords here and there 10,000 times is not going to fetch you. So what were you doing all these days in the newspapers? It's common sense, right? It's not like you cannot, I have to teach you first what is spirit of service, then you come here and see my face and oh, that is spirit of service. It's human traits, right? When you see someone going above and beyond their call of duty, it's the spirit of service. Yes, a teacher swimming for together. Or you can take for example the recent elections in all over the country. Yes, even in the Assam, remotest, hilliest areas also, people go in boats, ships, every mode of transportation possible to get the things done. Yes or no? So you are not being paid for that, but still you will do that. Yes, an IAS officer is getting 60,000 salary, but he is working for 14 hours a day. Why? Above and beyond the call of duty. So that is commitment. Perseverance. Any examples for perseverance?
Graham Smith is broken hand.
Very difficult, right? In the context of public services, have you seen an example for perseverance?
So some Odisha IAS officer lost his father. But still he was there doing his job.
That's commitment and spirit of service. Again, COVID is an example for perseverance, but I want you to think. Don't only think about IAS officers. IAS officers to the peon. Everybody is a public servant. Yes or no? They are serving the public. So anybody can do exemplar work. It need not be IAS all the time. I know you like that post, but that doesn't mean you have to write only that example. So what does this tell you? This tells you that you can open lexicon and read the meaning of perseverance. It is not a rocket science. What do you have to do? Whenever you read anything anywhere, you have to make a connection. Yes, and it does not mean, sir, now I know that you will ask about perseverance, I will observe perseverance. The UPS is not that innocent, right? 5 other keywords will be replaced here. Impartiality, conflict of interest. Then again next year, sir, I will come back and read lexicon. No? Yes, perseverance. In spirit of public service. Vaccine hesitancy can be taken as one example for perseverance, right? You go, people say no, or in particular areas in, if you remember, stones or bricks were thrown at them, female doctors. Yes, some of them were injured. After that, they again came back with police force to the same people to get them vaccinated. Why? Citizenry may or may not be aware of what is happening, but as a public servant, as a doctor, I know it's important for everybody's welfare. Can you think of any other example? Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Okay. How? That is persuasion, right? There is difference between persuasion and perseverance. I hope, at least that is what I learned. I don't know. Okay. Ashok Khemka's career can be taken as an example for perseverance. He's persistently honest.
That signals are like that policeman always stands with the camera and irrespective of any time.
It's his job, right? Contactless policing. So it's a reform in the police system. It's a contactless policing. I don't stop you. You do all the idiotic stuff you want to do. I will take a photo.
That he do beyond his time limit.
No, he will definitely do it. After 7, did you see a police constable? No? No, I'm asking you.
He works beyond that limit.
Okay, fine. Courage of conviction and perseverance. See, UPSC picks very non-obvious thing.
Perseverance and courage of conviction. Like one example, like previous IAS officer who goes against senior IPS officer.
That's sexual harassment.
Not sexual harassment regarding some scam involved in Karnataka.
Okay.
So for perseverance, can we give Nambi Narayanan's example?
Nambi Narayanan example. But again, it's more about injustice, right? perseverance personally, yeah, but in the context of public service, he's exposing the corruption. Okay, it's dicey. I mean, it's gray area. It's good. It's bad. Like,
Coverage of conviction can be good. He was sure that he didn't do anything wrong.
huh. In public, probably you can use it. And again, we can find other examples. For example, some subordinate is being harassed by a senior officer, right? So he was reluctant to give in to that senior officer's pressure, and he's still following his duty, upholding values, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, the moment you see newspapers anywhere in remotest corners also, you need to keep an eye. Yes, the more you start seeing things, right, the more contemporary the things, the better will be your paper. Yes or no? As everybody know, there was a time when people didn't knew there was a guy called as D.K. Balaji. Right? So his time, his examples were fantastic. It is not going to fly in 2021 or 22. You need to be creative. You need to be unique. Your own examples you find from the deepest corners of the country. Then what will happen? You will be appreciated. Your scores will be 10 marks more than the rest. Yes? Why? What did he do? He got caught in Pakistan. Perseverance. In spirit of public service, I think there are better examples. Right? We are doing the same for Vijay Mallya also. Right? Again, public service is you doing something. Now indicate two more attributes which you consider are important for public services. Justify your answer. Normally, what do we say? Honesty and integrity, transparency and accountability. Or you can write down the above ones. But the thing is, something, compassion, empathy. Yes. Okay. In spirit of public service, the policies are the efforts to implement public services in the Naxal areas can be written as perseverance. For example, we are constantly building hospitals and schools. They are blowing it up, and we are still winning hearts and minds of the villagers. That is public service. At the risk of being blown away, at the risk of being kidnapped and killed, still civil servants and public servants are working in the Naxal affected areas to provide service delivery. That can be written for perseverance. Okay. Now, okay, small orientation change, because I have to act like I am writing the ethics paper and the focus is on public services. Commitment, courage and conviction. You can throw some examples, very easy, right? So I think the first question, what does ethics seek to promote in human life? Why is it all the more important in public administration? Individual having ethics is one thing, right? Public servants having ethics is even more important. The other day, the similar question, right? Politicians. Why should politics and ethics should not go hand in hand, or should they go hand in hand? I told you, they are the ones who should have a higher standards of ethics. The same is for public administration. Why for public administration? Why do we need honest, why do we need ethical public servants?
Institution, credibility, public funds,
Mm-hmm.
beneficiaries at large and public.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, if the government works, it works on a simple thing called trust between the people and the government. So, to keep the trust between as a functioning organization, so we need this ethical people. Like, they must be ethical and resort to they must stick to their own values.
Mm-hmm.
So that institutions, they will be upheld and people will respect them. Ultimately, there will be a social harmony.
Okay. Okay. Keystone species. Yes. Okay. Public servants are keystone species. Manogna. Write that quote. Okay. You can use it in the answer. Examiner won't know who is Manogna, right? Yes. Then hopefully one day we'll add the name IAS beside her, then it will become even more popular. Okay, fine. So we will discuss about the term public trust, because if you understand that one term, public trust and accountability, everything can be suited easily. 2014 question again. Integrity without knowledge is weak and useless. First of all of you know the meaning of integrity, right? Highest standards of honesty, so in a simple layman term. But knowledge without integrity is dangerous and dreadful. Okay, so what do you understand by this statement? Explain your stand with illustrations from modern day context. So there are two things. One is integrity without knowledge. So you are the most honest person ever, but you didn't ever clear prelims. Okay, your friend cleared or got into IAS and he is one of the most objective fellow. That means he know how to get things done without fear and favor. He is not bothered about morals, values and all those things. He is still an IAS officer. So both the scenarios are not helpful for the society, right? So explain your stand with illustrations from modern day context. Hacking. Okay. But knowledge without integrity is dangerous and dreadful. But again, please remember, in general I understand and accept that statement, but here you have to tailor suit it to public services and society. Knowledge without increasing, profiteering. Okay, by whom?
Pharma companies or educational institutions.
But again, here public services, right?
It's public service.
No, not that is societal service. That is social services, not public service. If you are a government school, then I accept that statement. Sanitizer. Yes. Whenever I see sanitizer, I remember in the starting of the COVID days, people were standing in the line. Volunteers were giving sanitizer. So one guy was like this. Okay. We got so used to standing in lines and taking liquid. The moment involuntarily he started. Okay. Then people stopped him. So yes. Now coming again to the same thing here, please understand. When you quote, it should be about society per se, like from government entity to the society. G to B or G to P. Government to people will be a better example, right? There is no harm in writing private hospitals are being, a lot of skilled. They have all the new missions, tools and all those things, and they are exploiting the people. So that is knowledge without integrity. Vaccine nationalism can also be thrown in. Knowledge without integrity.
So searching for a personal gain.
Yes. Government misusing public data. Knowledge without integrity is dangerous and dreadful. Okay. For example, that is where the problem comes. Supreme Court will send contempt notice against you.
Pondicherry case where
Pondicherry case.
Aadhaar was used by
That is sub judice. There is no proof, right? We assumed so.
So, when we talk about the first statement, can we say that the people involved, like the officers, without knowing they're involved in the scam, they were forced to do the things because they stick to the profession?
That is not the excuse, right? You are an IAS officer. You are signing on a paper. Okay. Due diligence is one of the qualities you should have. If I sign a checkbook, am I that innocent that if I will be surprised when my balance is reduced? No, right? So due diligence is one of the products. So better examples will do. Integrity without knowledge is weak and useless. Whistleblowers. Why? They have knowledge, right? That is when they are going to go for whistleblowing. I don't see it fitting into the narration. You get the simple idea, right? See, when you read this particular chapter or any standard textbook, you listen to or you read the terms in individuality. Like you read integrity, you read knowledge, you read honesty, you read Aristotle in silos. You read them in isolation. Your right hand doesn't know what your left hand is doing. But the thing is, your integrity, knowledge and examples, all of them should fit together, and your example should be very apt. The problem is, like for example, she told a statement. I totally agree that integrity or knowledge without integrity is dangerous. So all the public data or all the private citizens' information without concern for privacy and respect for privacy is a dangerous thing to the society. But I need to follow it up with a illustration from modern day context which is near universally accepted. So all the three things, your theory, expression and example should be in sync. That is when you get good marks. Yes, again Aadhaar data or Pondicherry incident, all these are sub judice, or there is no clear cut proof that Aadhaar is being misused. Right, government is saying we have 1028 encryption, 1024 encryption. It is never misused. Okay. It's trickier, right? Okay.
Do we have examples from public services?
Definitely. You can have.
More examples are coming from social services.
Public services, definitely they will be right. For example, SC Gupta case, the coal scam case can be taken into consideration, or spectrum auctions can be taken into consideration. See, that is what I am telling you. Once you know that you have to invest your time in understanding the examples from day-to-day basis, automatically you will be more alert, right? Yes. For example, think about this question. Why should impartiality and non-partisanship should be considered as foundation values in civil services, especially in the present day socio-political context? This is where it gets trickier. 2016 question. Now Sindhu will give us some example. Illustrate the answers with examples. Next, Nihar. That is theory. Identification of beneficiaries is done in SECC list, right? Or BPL list. Okay. Take an example and tell me identification of beneficiaries. Why those two are considered as foundational values in public services? Foundational values. See, there are multiple value systems. They are considered as foundational values. Without them, you cannot be called as a good bureaucrat. So, impartiality and non-partisanship. Yes, Nihar?
Because government is changed from
Hmm.
on your basis that you as a bureaucrat
Hmm.
and
You're a permanent executive, so you keep.
so you need to be impartial. Ideologies change, people change,
Hmm.
voting behavior changes, but you need to stick to your values and
Hmm.
you need to execute them.
Okay.
They should be considered foundational.
Okay, fine. That is accepted. Especially in the present socio-political context, why is that line used? And illustrate with an example. I have two examples on the tip of my tongue. Example. Then go guy. Okay. Again, he is such a talented fellow. The country doesn't want to lose his talent, so was appointed as a Rajya Sabha member, which will add the legal luminary to the Rajya Sabha. That is my defense. And there is no proof that A plus B is equal to C. A is A, B is B, and C is C. Why struggle? Recently, municipal elections in Andhra Pradesh or in West Bengal. So many IPS officers were transferred by election commission for being partisan. Yes or no? Whenever there are election commission, if a collector is being transferred because he didn't do the due diligence. For example, election commissioner of Andhra Pradesh, state election commissioner, he ordered certain IAS officers service records to be amended that they are partisan. Right, that is the best example possible. That means whenever there is an election, if you are getting transferred being partisan, that means that there is no other shame in that. That is the highest level of insult, because you are supposed to be partial to the constitutional values, not the political parties. See, Max Weber, the father of bureaucracy, says you have to be neutral. Okay, value neutral civil servants. That is the concept suggested by Max Weber. Value neutral civil servants. Can actually civil servants be value neutral? Can you be like an empty vessel? You cannot be like, you are not a mission. If I program that robot or a computer, it will be value neutral. Sleep at 2 AM, wake up by 3 AM, it will do that. But a civil servant can never be value neutral, because he comes from socio-cultural economic factors of the society. He is already loaded with values, but his value should be aligned to constitution. Constitution says you are a permanent executive, you have to do public service, not political party service. So whenever in West Bengal some IPS officers were transferred, in Andhra Pradesh IAS officers were collectors, district collectors were removed on the orders of state election commissioner, that he is not confident that they are actually value neutral, that they are biased towards a political party in power. Right? Examples from your contemporary day-to-day life. There is no controversy. You are not blaming any one political party. You are going pan-India examples, and you are not citing any examples of the parties in. You are stating recently in various state elections, this happened. That shows there is no, there is impartiality. Sorry, there is partiality and partisanship in civil services. So value neutral civil services cannot exist, but value towards constitution. Constitutional values must be upheld at all the cost. See, that is what you see in the newspapers. Yes. They feel that the terminology should be there. They believe in constitutional values are being eroded. If you say personal ideologies.
Is it like a way of eroding their promise towards public service? Like they should be concentrating on serving the public rather than any sort of.
Again, there are two sides of the coins, right? Freedom of expression and the personal value system. See, as an individual, still I can respect the constitutional values. Only till getting into the IAS, right? Once you are an IAS, probably you won't have the same level of feel. You look for new high. Yes, Nagaland posting probably. No? Clear? So the problem always comes with the last line. Illustrate your answer with examples. Okay? Socio-political context. Politicization of bureaucracy. You add it again. See, that the thing is, present day socio-political context, earlier they used to do at least like indirectly. Now they are being more openly taking stands. Yes. What is the issue with that? Same question repeated with new terminologies, right? So now quickly all of you frame one example. think in your mind. Transparency, following in the context of civil services. The question is, don't write definition of transparency. Why transparency is important? ఉన్నీలేండి పాపం మళ్ళీ వాళ్ళకి. ఓకే, why transparency is important in civil services? If you write definition of transparency, I will beat you. Why? One thing will lead to another thing, right? You need to know all the foundational values. If there is no transparency, how will it affect the other foundational values of being a civil servant? That also can be one line of thought. You can also think about what is difference between transparency and accountability. How are they different from each other? And how are the terms transparency and fairness different from each other? Can you throw any example at the same place? It can also be government policy, not only individual action. Even government policies can be transparency, promotional, accountability. Yes. Relevance of the context of civil servants service. First you need to know civil service, then the context and the relevance of these terms in relation to civil services. Sindhu will tell us the example for fairness and justice because she didn't write it. Okay. Yashashwini, transparency. Why transparency is important? Smart. There is a kahavat in Hindi, right? Mere billi mujhe miyao. So, so you are throwing my words at me. Okay, fine. That's smart. Actually, I appreciate that. Okay, okay, fine. Please continue.
Use discretion in processes that covers corruption.
Jan Suchna portal can be an example for transparency or promotion of transparency. Very good example in the context of public services. Vallabh also wrote. Vallabh is like, yes, my example is taken away. Okay. Yes, Aditya. Narega and Citizen Charter are examples for transparency. Okay, considered. Why? But why is transparency very important?
Because it as stated first, it increases trust as stated first. Second, it improves the efficiency and efficacy of institution.
Okay, it leads to accountability. Is Citizen Charter accountability? Example for accountability. Okay, so what is the difference between transparency and accountability?
Transparency is proactive disclosure. Accountability is you being answerable for something.
Answerable for something. So transparency does not lead to accountability. It leads to accountability. But accountability does not lead to transparency.
You have to be accountable here.
You have to be transparent. I have to be, but I can be accountable in sealed covers or through parliament reports. Yes, but who you are being accountable to? For example, there are certain departments like CBI, DRDO. All these things are not accountable to the larger public, but only to the parliament, right? But still they are transparent and accountable. So here Citizen Charter, for example, Citizen Charter, what does Citizen Charter do? Citizen Charter brings out the transparency in functioning of your department. All these are tools. Transparency. Way to promote accountability. Relevance. Okay. Definitely true. Tools are not outcome, right? Tools are means. That is one way accepted. But here the context is, for example, Narega. What does Narega tell you? Narega tell you this is the work that is being done. Right? Narega boards. At every work site there will be Narega boards which will tell this is amount of work that is being done, amount of work invested, and how many people are participating, so that there won't be any issue. Even the same is tool. A social audit is also a tool to promote transparency and accountability. So social audit you will read in GS paper 2 a lot. Yes. So both of them will promote transparency and accountability. But here the question is not what are the tools, the question is why they are relevant. Why transparency is relevant to civil services. So basically first point is public trust. Yes or no? You should be above and beyond any doubt, and you have extraordinary duty to uphold the constitutional values. A normal person can go after evening 7 after a software job, you can go get drunk and do whatever you want to. But a IAS officer or a SI or a CA or anyone who is a public servant, after 7 also, people expect you to behave in a certain fashion. You cannot be seen on the road, right, in a drunken condition. Yes, that is not expected. So public services have a higher calling or a higher expectation than from the rest of the crowd. So these are all very layman examples we are talking about, but as soon as our knowledge keeps on increasing, we will add more value to the discussions. Yes, transparency, accountability, we will go into ARC reports. ARC reports will also promote why transparency and accountability are very important. For example, discretion is a root cause of corruption. Yes or no? Without discretion, civil services cannot be run. And discretion should be transparent and accountable. Only then corruption will be reduced. So in this fashion, we will try to establish linkages between corruption and transparency, accountability, and other things. Fairness and justice, courage and conviction, spirit of service. Fairness and justice will come when you are impartial and non-partisan. So obviously, value neutral systems. Courage of conviction. Vivad se Vishwas is faith. I don't. It's grievance redressal. Code of conduct. We will discuss in a different light. Vivad se Vishwas. Okay.
So Jain portal is okay.
Jain Suchna portal is transparency. JAM. Oh, e-marketplace. Okay, GEM portal. Okay. E-marketplace is an example for fairness and justice. I think it is again more for accountability. Like there is no corruption, right? Earlier I used to buy a printer for 14,000, but I will tell the shop wala 17,000, 3,000 to me, 14,000 to the government, 20 rupees for him for the bill. So okay, when foreigner tribunal again, it's antithesis, right? Okay. What is not fairness and justice? Foreigner tribunals in Assam. Okay. Last question. State the basic values universal in nature in the context of civil services. Obviously, without thinking, we can write transparency, objectivity, efficiency, and effectiveness. Sorry? Whatever you will remember that day is true, right? I mean, anything we don't even remember after the exam hall. I wrote top 3 again that day. It's not like
because when everybody writes the same.
That doesn't mean you are writing the wrong things, right? That is also a misconception. Everybody will write this essay, I will pick up some other essay.
So it's not
That is even the bigger disaster. Yes. What are the basic principles of public life? Illustrate with suitable examples. So luckily for us, we don't have to struggle for any of the questions we have discussed till now. Government has already done a lot of work and people have created material, right? Second ARC report, public services bill, draft public services bill, and one more article. If you read these 3 things, you can keep throwing, or you can handle these questions 10,000 times. Okay. So quickly we will go through this entire PDF and public services values. See, you have to read more than me teaching you because it's self-explanatory. But please remember, you have to imbibe those keywords. They should come into your jargon so naturally. That is when the next following chapters are easy for you. Okay. So the first and foremost important thing is the objectivity of good governance. So we'll start with the foundational values. See, foundational values in civil services in India expects you to do these things. Upheld public trust and confidence. Whatever you are doing, you are not representing yourself, you are representing government of India or government of the state, right? So you are representing a bigger, larger institution and you come under that umbrella. You are individual, now you are under the umbrella of government. The code of conduct, rules, the way you dress, the way you take gifts, everything is under the government of India. So any and every action you do will bring credibility or blame to this institution. Recently, an IPS officer in some state was thrown out of the service for beating his wife and the video went viral. Yes or no? Why one action has to be taken so severely? Why should that IPS officer be removed from the service as quickly as possible? On the one hand, you are saying Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Domestic Violence Act, Women Empowerment, Nari Shakti. On the other hand, your own tools are working against you or eroding you from inside, right? Then that cannot be justified. But if he is a common citizen, which is most of the cases in India, that doesn't bring any issue to you. You are working towards that. So anything and everything you do, you are promoting clean government, minimum government, maximum governance. But your own IAS officers are doing corruption. It cannot be tolerated. So when you preach, everybody from IAS to the peon is under the same tune. They are working for the public. So corruption anywhere is antithesis to whatever you are saying. So that is the importance. For bureaucracy, adhering to the highest level of public service values, which will lead to public trust. The moment public have a trust, they will listen to you. The moment public have a perception that you are corrupt, for example, there are many surveys, CSDS surveys, right, democratic studies, which says most people in India believe that police are one of the most corrupt institutions. Yes or no? That's a perception. There's a perception that has been deeply rooted because if I go to a police station, there will be some money involved. If I go to RTA for bike license, there is money involved. Land registration, money involved. Very few services in India, there is no money involved. For example, passport. Within our own lifetime or in front of our eyes, passport system has moved on from corrupt to totally digital. Efficient public service delivery. but still people are afraid to go to the police stations. That is why EFIRs, all these things are being promoted, right? So public trust is everything. As long as they don't trust you, they don't come to you. If they don't come to you, there is no point. Take the examples of banking system. Why is RBI rectifying the banking system? Maharashtra Bank, Punjab National Bank, other banks, some Maharashtra Bank, right? So when all these things are happening, that leads to erosion of public trust. So public trust is one important thing you have to remember throughout your journey from this point onwards. Till now, you are learning ethics as an individual, values, Aristotle and all those things. Now you are learning them as values. So every case study you deal with is about public trust. Okay, public trust is one very, very important keyword. Welfare maximization and public trust. See, why are you doing everything? For welfare maximization. What happens when you maximize the welfare? It will promote public trust. They are like two sides of the coin, public trust and welfare maximization. If you erode public trust, maximization will come down. If you promote maximization, public trust will increase. Clear? Now, read this particular paragraph. The objective of good governance is to create an environment. Again, remember the term is create a environment in which public servants are as I told you, there is a Madhyama Marga, Buddha's first principle, right? There is never a scenario that you won't have problems. You will always have crisis for problems.
I couldn't get the
link with this. When you exhibit higher credibility and real ethical standards deriving from justice, equality and morality, people will believe you. If more and more people are following that, there will be an ecosystem, there will be an environment where good governance can thrive. Right? Say for example, you introduce an app. If you need electricity to a new home, submit application online. But again, at the end of the day, nobody is following it up. Right? Then it's only for show. Yes or no? You have to follow it up with some action. Only when actions are implemented. See, the other day we had fun, right? We don't know the emergency number in India. Right? Why? We created a number, we didn't follow it with proper implementation. Yes, what is the emergency number in India? 911. Oh, yes, she's saying it starts with 9. Okay. Okay, fine. Yes, you get the concept, right? See, why this is important is this line. Good governance is essentially a moral enterprise. Good governance is not a public service tool. Good governance is a moral thing. Why it is a moral thing? At the end of the day, all these things are implemented by whom? These two people, politician and public servant. So government, when I say government, most of the times it is these two people. Yes or no? Either it's a public servant or a politician. So government in theory is the most ethical thing. But when these two people are corrupt, can this enterprise work? Yes or no? So government is a tool. Actually, for understanding sake, government is a tool. Who is doing that? X and Y. They are using government for public service delivery. But if they are corrupt inside the system, then the system will get corrupted. So that is why the highest ideal should be expected from these two people, public servants and this, right? Next. The problem with many chief ministers as of now in India is they are having CBI cases. If he is himself is facing a CBI case, how can he morally ask the subordinates to be honest? Yada Raja Tada Praja, right? Yada Raja Tada Praja. So if he is corrupt, automatically he will still have the same traits. So I am getting a new contract. This must share for you. This is for me. Yes or no? I hope you understand. So automatically it leads to corruption. The Maharashtra example, 100 crores extortion. Corruption. Yes or no? Corruption led to corruption of the entire system. Now the public has lost trust on Maharashtra state police. So 2 people or 3 people have damaged the entire institution. Contemporary examples. So what do we need? We need a honest, efficient and fearless civil servant. So fearless civil servant doesn't mean I won't stand up when PM comes. Okay, not that kind of. Fearless in the sense I will do my duty without fear and favor, without any political partisanships. Okay, I will totally uphold my duties as I am supposed to. But in reality, what is happening? Lack of professionalism. That means I might still wear the formal dress and all those things, but thing is I am doing informal things. Lot of corruption. Yes, performance issues. Not doing your duties also moral corruption. Inappropriate values and immoral practices. Your brother-in-law will get the railway contract. Yes or no? A. Raja, Minister of Environment and Forest. Honda company gave the entire dealership of the state to some relative of A. Raja. Then what happens? You are clean, but immoral practices. Clear? So we have to borrow a lot from Mr. B.P. Mathur. He wrote a book on public services in India. I am not encouraging you to read that book, not useful. Just one or two paragraphs is essential. Remember this quote. If public servants are to fulfill the responsibilities entrusted on them, they must have the right value system. So what are those right values? We will see soon. Don't worry, as I told you, everything is ready made for us. Right. So this is a quote you can use. Nihar, you were giving some example, right? I think this quote suits you, your expression in a better fashion, right? Values are like a anchor in a ship. When a storm comes, the ship is not swept away by the currents because you are rooted. Yes or no? So for a public servant who is honest and integral, all the pressure in the world cannot move him even a inch. Only transfers. Okay, don't write that. Okay, you cannot move him even a inch. A person with strong values or character sticks to his principles and is not swept away under crisis or under pressure. Because you are so deeply anchored to your values, nothing in the world can persuade you to not do what you don't want to do. You are protected from constitution. Yes? So there is a question, right? Universally, what are the commonly accepted civil services values? You can put these things according to UN International Code of Conduct by public officials. Position of public trust has ultimate loyalty. Position of, he is in a position of public trust and his ultimate loyalty should be to public interest. That is what I told you, right? Public trust. And this is universal, international. Performing duties and functions with efficiency and effectiveness. What is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness?
efficiency is input. Effectiveness is achieving your goals in the times.
Come again.
Effectiveness is the end, efficiency is the means.
Efficiency is the means. Effectiveness is the end. Okay.
So efficiency can be in terms of qualitative product and efficiency can be of quantitative product.
Which one is qualitative?
Efficiency.
Efficiency is qualitative. Okay.
And effectiveness can be quantitative.
Is it true? Reverse is true. I don't know. They are saying I am writing. I have no clue. I am totally innocent. Don't drag me. Yes, Deepti? Job. Example? Policy implementation. Okay. Example. That is smart. Take a real life example. DD bus. Sorry? Reading Lakshmikant. Efficiency and effectiveness. Okay. Example?
Efficiency is converting ones into twos. Effectiveness is achieving the target in 50 hours.
Okay. So reading Lakshmikant in 10 hours is efficiency. Remembering everything you read is effectiveness. No? That is what you meant? Okay. So COVID beds were constructed in a very less amount of time, right? Record. So China constructed 10,000 beds. We converted all the railway trains into COVID beds. That is efficiency or effectiveness? In less amount of time, if you are able to do that, it is efficiency. It saved 10,000 lives. That is effective solution. Yes or no? So Lakshmikant is also a good example. But I told you, right, emotional intelligence class changed me. I stopped being emotionally intelligent. I decided to be one. Right? Yes, again, you understand, right? Efficiency and effectiveness. A bureaucrat has to use the limited resources. As I told you, you are not God. You cannot say, I will make 10,000 beds in the air. Yes, you have to use your existing resources and convert that into something very, very productive without wasting resources. Right? So all those things are efficiency and effectiveness. They should be attentive, fair and impartial. That is according to United Nations. Now, next, there is one more guy called as Sherman T. He gave some values which are common for public services. Mug it up. No need to explain, right? Honesty and integrity, you know. Impartiality, you know. Respect for law and people. What we call as rule of law. Right? Due diligence. This is what I was saying. Whenever you do anything, your ramifications have to be noticed. If you remember emotional intelligence class, one of the things that emotional intelligence will tell you is what? Long-term view. Long-term view of individual, employees and organization. Everybody will be taken into consideration. So every sign you make, every decision you do, everything you say, formally or informally, verbally, through your body actions will have long-term ramifications. So due diligence is very, very important. Economy and effectiveness, as we have discussed. Responsiveness, you should be responsive. Sir, there is no electricity in our village from last 1 week. It will have a lot of ramifications. Or a small doubt or 1% chance is there that the issue might blow out. Immediately you have to be responsive. For example, two people have fought over communal or religious stones. So immediately if you take actions, it won't convert into communal incident. A stitch in time is better than saves, sorry, stitch in time saves 9 in future. No, at the same time, all these values inside you are not going to tell me that you are a good public servant, right? You have to demonstrate them, bring into action. That is even more important. So the most common examples for demonstrating your values comes through transparency, integrity, legitimacy, right, fairness and responsiveness. For example, there are core foundational traits. I know if you are an IAS officer, you will have a lot of traits, but these are the traits that will be visible on a daily basis. Yes or no? Every decision you take will tell you whether you are fair or not. The problem is you have taken decision X, Y, A, B, C. X is like legitimate, not legitimate. But the thing is, the moment you have taken decision A, all the good things you have done in the past will be wiped out. Okay, from this point onwards, I can probably persuade you to take a different decision. So one wrong decision or one decision with fear, one MLA recommendation, you have given job for a sweeper. Sweeper is a very small post. In some government institution, you appointed someone as a sweeper on the recommendation of the MLA. A door has been opened. From that point onwards, you will have a lot of unnecessary pressure. See, and your subordinates are not sheep, right? They clearly know why you are taking a particular decision. He will use it against you, right? So, without fear and favor is something that is very visible on a daily basis. Today you are doing it for a sweeper job, tomorrow you might do it for a contract. That's it. That's the end of the road for you as a clean, honest bureaucrat. Once you open the door, that's the end of everything. Yes. Integrity. This is something that you cannot change, right? It's not a subjective term. Today I'm in a good mood. Tomorrow I'm in a bad mood. That is something deeply ingrained. Transparency. So you see, the beauty of transparency is you need to justify every action. Transparency brings you the accountability onto you. Yes or no? So you have taken a decision X or a decision C. If someone comes following it up, okay, you need to justify whether it's a mala fide or a bona fide, bad intention or good faith. So I have taken a decision B in good faith. Okay, then it's a subjective argument. Remember the foundational values, right? Starting ethics, values classes. Your actions are judged, not your intentions. So you have done action B. I am taking it as a bona fide action. You have taken it in a good faith, but outputs might still be wrong, right? It may be inefficient. It should have costed 7 lakhs, but because of your decision, it is costing 9 lakhs. But I cannot say that you acted in a modified way. If the 2 lakhs is coming to you as a kickback, then it's a modified intention. Very simple, right? But this was not the case. You have nothing to do with it. Clear? No, I'm isolating. Okay, I'm isolating. There is no A. Let's say you are a honest officer. Your action is this. But if you have done A, then there is no discussion, right? You are a different kind of IAS. Sorry? Yeah. No. He thrown his cap on the promotion. He's going to a better place. Yes, I understand. Transparency, justice and modified and bona fide. Clear? Yes. Integrity, as I told you, fairness and responsiveness. So responsiveness is something which you see, right, every day. If you stand in any collector office, you can understand how responsive it has to be. Every day, so many villagers, so many people, so many issues. Someone will come, my baby is not well, the government hospital is not accepting me, please recommend. So many hundreds of cases like this will be there on a daily basis. Somebody will come saying, my land has been occupied. Yes, you get it? Now, these principles are called as Nolan principles, the 7 principles of public life, which is common knowledge, right? Selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty and leadership. These are called as Nolan's 7 principles for public life. Okay, I'm not going to explain to them, but they're self-explanatory. So these are the suggested values for a civil servant in India. What are they? Commitment to constitutional values. Obviously, all of you know. Preamble, all of you remember, right? Yes or no? What are the justices that are promised in preamble? Social, economic, and political. Okay. What other things are promised in preamble? Fairness is there? No? Fairness is not there. Sure. What are the other things that are promised in preamble? Justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. No fairness. Integrity is there in preamble? There. Sure. 42nd Amendment. Okay. 1976. That's good. Okay. So commitment to constitutional values, adherence to probity. Say again, you might feel like Sir is repeating the same words. I didn't create that PDF, in the sense I didn't write those words. Throughout the journey, everybody is repeating the same things, but none of us follow it. Different issue. Probity, integrity, and conduct. Impartiality and non-partisanship. Objectivity. This is the objective of introducing ethics paper. Empathy for vulnerable and weaker section. At least you should know what is the difference between a good civil servant and a bad civil servant. If you don't have empathy, you cannot be a good civil servant. If you are not responsive, you are not a good civil servant. Yes. So there are a lot of Tamil movies, right, where IPS officers and collectors will be bashing the politicians and all those things. So that is theory. Okay. The same thing you are learning now. The stunts are performed by professionals. Don't try them in home. In service. Don't write that down. Clear? What is the difference between openness and transparency? Openness is a framework. Transparency is a tool for that. For example, every decision I take will be visible to everyone. I am giving a lens to see that particular tool. So transparency is the tool, and transparency is automatically tied to accountability. The other side of the coin is accountability. So based on the transparent mechanisms, I can punish you, right? Whereas openness is a framework. This is how we are doing things. So openness is more about objective end, right? So transparency is a means. How am I achieving that means? For example, demonetization. Demonetization is a project of openness. It brings out all the black money. Yes or no? But how we arrived at demonetization decision is not transparent. Clear? No. In the same lines, Government of India has introduced a bill called as Public Service Bill 2007. It's still in draft. Okay. Irony. Public Services Bill 2007. So they have certain keywords which are referred as the values that are envisaged in the bill. So if you just read the Nolan principles and this bill, right? So all the questions that are going to come for next 10 years in this chapter, you can keep writing them. Yes or no? But one thing you cannot do is find examples in any material. You have to find them on your own. So that is the first half an hour. Rest half an hour is mugging up. Yes or no? So alliance to various ideals enshrined in the constitution. So I simply said constitutional values. Apolitical functioning, non-partisanship and impartiality. Good governance for the betterment of the people, objectivity and impartiality, accountability, transparency. Yes. Maintenance of highest ethical standards. You went to some function, they gave you a gift. What do? If it is above certain amount of value, you submit it to the government of India. That is your service rules. Okay. Cultural values and diversities of the nations have to be taken into consideration. Effectiveness and efficiency, same thing in different terms. Yes or no? Ensuring economy and avoidance of wastage in experience. Who is the biggest wastager of money in the country? Government, right? Seminars. All the government officers will have seminars. All these people will go to Delhi, sit there, eat mixture and come back. Hotel, travel, everything is maintained by government. Why can't you do that through video conferencing? Thanks to COVID, we are doing the same things now. Lot of money is saved to the government of India. Yes or no? For a one-page seminar, why do I have to go all the way to Delhi? Right? Wastage of money. AC rooms, big offices. You can see the grandeur of public service office, right? Have you ever been to government offices? Yes. Yes. Provision of healthy and conjugal work environment, communication, consultation. So these are the values you mug up. So don't worry, there is nothing much to remember because it's self-explanatory. But the problem comes in implementation and finding the examples. So remember, if you read D.K. Balaji, he's on the one side of the spectrum. If you read any standard textbooks, they are on the other end of the spectrum. So the other end is critical, like N.K. Saxena book, or to an extent Mr. Mathur also is on the extreme ends, whereas D.K. Balaji book is on the other extreme because he is in the service. So if you read his book, he is pro governance. Okay, governance. He is pro governance. He writes in a very neutral tone, that like this is the value that you are supposed to do. You are supposed to talk to your blah blah blah. You get the point, right? On the other hand, people are critical. Everything is perfect on the other end. The other end is we need reforms. Remove all the IAS officers in the country. We don't need IAS. Right? Do we? Yes, ISRO. Oh, okay, fine. No? Nobody told ISRO? I heard ISRO for some reason. Okay. So there are two extremes, right? But both are not good for you. Why? Because questions can come in critically analyzed fashion. That means you need to show the positiveness. Then you need to start discussing about the negative things. You need to have that knowledge of both. Clear? So you write the positive values, you write the negative values. Right? Then you have a holistic understanding on the civil services of the country. We literally cannot expect the country to run without a good IAS officers, right? There are hundreds, if not thousands of good IAS officers. At the same time, there are corrupt civil servants also, maybe in single digits, right? So we need to find the balance. Don't take either of the stands. Don't say IAS officers are gods. At the same time, don't say there are no devils or black sheep in the IAS. We know the ground reality. We are balanced. Most people are good, but it's not their fault that they are not shining. Why? It's the responsibility of the state to create an ecosystem for honest officers to shine. Yes or no? So unless and until there is no incentive for me to be honest, why will I be honest? Clear?
It's contradictory.
Which one?
Why we need to go for the rewards if they are working?
I'm not saying, I'm saying create ecosystem. For example, you are a honest IAS officer. Okay, if somebody is doing a corruption in your department, you should have a grievance redressal mechanism to complain to me, and I will take swift action. Right? Let's say a contractor came to me and he is offering me bribe. Okay, I told the government that a particular contractor is offering me a bribe. Right? Then next day, everybody in the office know that I am the one who has complained. Then everybody will treat me like a black sheep. Create a mechanism in an anonymous fashion that this particular contractor is doing something wrong. So immediately there should be an IT raid on him, or some ACB mechanisms should be there on him. So you should protect me, right? If I open my mouth, I will be punished forever, if that is the sense. Then you take the sexual harassment of the IPS, female IPS officer. Why don't we have a mechanism for IPS officers herself? Why can't she complain anonymously? Right? Why do it has to be a media circus? Right? So if you create that mechanisms, probably she would have never gone through this public trauma. Right? So again, if it's her choice to go for anonymous or publicly, but she should have a mechanism. Right? So that ecosystem should be created. But again, as I told you, if he is acquitted tomorrow, the bubble is burst, no officer will ever open a mouth. Think about it, if an IAS senior IPS officer can do sexual harassment to a female IPS officer, colleague, what about constables and female SIs and CIs? Right? We can't even imagine what they might be going through. Because if an IPS officer has harassed a constable, let's say, she can't even open her mouth. But we need the mechanisms. So mechanisms will reinforce whatever we are discussing. I hope you understood. So I didn't try, but it came like yin and yang. So naturally, the good and bad. Yes. So you need to understand it, right? Yes. There are good and bad. That is what critically analyze is all about. Any questions? Now, yes. So Mission Karma Yogi is more about training, right? It's more about, yeah, you can bring in Mission Karma Yogi for efficiency and effectiveness, regular training, lifelong training. So all the public services values we are discussing can be enhanced through Mission Karma Yogi. Yes. But again, we will discuss Mission Karma Yogi in probity in governance, because there is a chapter for training, right? How can I make a good civil servant? Civil servants are not born, right? They are made. Yes or no? Like leaders. Good students are not born, they are made. No? Controversial topic. Applied ethics. Okay, we won't discuss, don't worry. Any other questions? See, there are some chapters in ethics where you can directly dump the data without applying your brain, but the problem comes with contemporary examples. You have to prepare it on your own. Nobody will spoon feed you. If they spoon feed you, problem is same examples will be seen in 1000 other copies. That is also a disadvantage. You don't want that, right? Yes. I will find it, don't worry. You focus on the basics, right? So I'm telling you, I will give you the unique examples, but the thing is, you also should at least try. Sir will give, I will mug it up. It is not going to work. I don't have any other work, right? So at least you have polity, history, Lakshmikant, so many things to read. Netflix. No? I also do all those things, don't worry. Yes. Any other questions? Go home, write 3 answers of your choice from this particular PDF and try to see whether you understood anything or not after reading this PDF. Read the PDF. Till evening, after evening, like let's say 7 or 8, you will forget, right, most probably. Then try to write the answer. Okay. Didn't see that insult coming? No, don't worry. Yes, emotional intelligence, North Karnataka people. Yes. Okay. So probably question number 5, 1 and 6. 1, 5 and 6. Question numbers 1, 5 and 6 are good practice. If possible, write them. Yes, in the sorry. Yes, I will send the PDF. Nihar, I will send the PDF today. So you also message in the morning. It will be helpful if you can please send the emotional intelligence. Okay then. Thank you. See you all tomorrow.